your girl KC McDaniel coming back with you again about the comedian tonight. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone had a blessed and wonderful Tuesday. I know I did. My day went by well, quietly, peacefully, no drama, no stress. Thank you, Lord, for bringing me through. That's all I can say tonight. Um, it's always something. This election is getting to be crazy. This is really crunch time. You know how you got crunch time? Like you gotta meet your goals and meet your deadlines and finish the race on a timely basis. And this is how I feel about the comedian. But before I get into it, let me reach out to my mod before I get into it. So just talk to me in the chat. How was your day? Mm. Yep. So anyway, how was your day? Oh my God. I'm so full. I just got finished eating, but I'm gonna wait for more of you to come on in, so we could get into this conversation. I got into the conversation this morning with you about how I felt about Donnie Swaggart's um, remark to the black church, or what he had to say to the black church. And I can't find no reason to be angry with this man for what he said, because somebody needed to say it, like he said. Somebody needed to say it. Somebody needed to call it out. And he ain't the only person who has called it out. The black church has even tried to correct the black church. Okay? The black church has even tried to correct the black church. Just because you feel a certain way about a certain candidate that's running for presidency, there's just some things you just should not have to say it publicly or say it to your congregation. And if you are going to, have anything to say, make sure you got it Christ centered. Make sure Christ is in whatever you have to say. And the thing with the difference between what Donnie Swaggart said and what Jamal Bryant clapped back at is because he was convicted. Of course, those pastors that did have to preach in a sermon to their congregation about what Donnie Swaggart said, Pastor Donnie Swaggart said, or Reverend Evangelist Johnny Swaggart said about, you know, how could you call yourselves people of God when you support a person who believes in these type of evil things. um he had to say the black church because it was the black pastors who were endorsing Kamala Harris and made it publicly known why they endorsing her, and they put their blackness in it, and they loyalty to their blackness or whatever. um he was just saying, if we Christians, I don't know this man, Mr. Donnie. I don't really know him. I've never been to his church. I never served in his church or whatever. But at least he was on point, and he went scripturally on what he had to share to his congregation. And he went over some things as well in history for us to remind ourselves before we make these kind of out publicly, you know, things in our church, we should check ourselves and see if we coming from the right place in our heart of what the things we have been through our dark and weary past of things that were said about us against us in a certain kind of way, being slaves, and how it was wrong for us to be slaves under cruel, you know, treatment. And the thing he's saying is that this is not right for you to say these things publicly and to your church members, because some of them may not feel that way from Kamala, and you're bullying and you making them feel like they have to be forced to follow these type of things, and they shouldn't have to be. Even if you feel you don't like Trump and he's not the right person for you, that should be between you and God. But don't put that on your poor, people at the level that they are in their Christian faith, in their belief in God. Because when we looking at things in this election, we should always go in a God-like conscience of how we should make our decision. Now, I didn't say that Trump is no saint, because there's other people on the ballot. There's Jill Stein. She's not making a lot of noise. She's not getting a lot of recognition. And there is also Cornel West. He's not making a lot of noise and he's not getting a lot of recognition. And there's also some more other people there that I didn't really find any interest in none of their policies of being gay and whatever. But I'm just saying, if you don't want Trump and you don't want Kamala, there is other people that you can consider. And me thinking in a godly way, this is what I will tell my congregation. No, you may not want to go for Kamala. No, you may not want to go for Trump. But look into another candidate that you may feel more comfortable with voting for. Don't be forced to vote for either one of these people if you feel they're not walking in a righteous way. Because there are two and more other candidates that you can consider, but at least exercise your right to vote. That's what I would say. Now, I've seen the Republican policies, people trying to push this Project 2025 on me, a lot of Democrats and a lot of people that don't like Trump, and they say that he's a fascist, he's a racist, he's a Hitler, he's all of these ugly nasty names of history of leaders. But I'm hearing both sides of things. And so far, for one thing I could say about Trump, and it hasn't coming out of Trump's mouth. One thing I could say about Trump is at least he hasn't disrespected our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ in a way where he called him out and say, "Oh, he's not welcome here," or "He's not, you know, this ain't the place for you if you a Christian, if you want to worship Christ and all this other stuff." And he's not trying to push transgender on you. He's not trying to push homosexuality on you. He's not trying to tell your sons and daughters to be in the bathroom with tampons, with boys in the bathroom with tampons, or boys, males changing transgender in their sex to females to play in female sports. He's not trying to push those issues on you. Okay? He's not trying to go there with you. But he's also giving people the right to make their own mind up to do what they have to do for him to be the leader of our nation. He's not lying to you and selling you no celebrity to come to his rallies to perform. He's not selling that kind of bull crap to you. And there's a whole lot of other things. And then you got to understand too that I'm gonna get to the story, but I don't see a lot of people, enough people here yet. So that's why I haven't been. I've been talking around things I've been talking about this morning. I'm going to talk about this thing with this comedian, and I'm going to talk to you from another, looking at it through another way. But I'm going to also share this with you that about this church thing going on. Jamal Bryant been warned in so many ways about some of the things that he said from off his pulpit. And I remember when Fani Willis was under fire due to the scandal with her and Nathan Wade, and they were coming for Trump on stealing votes, corruption in the pop in the campaign and the votes and all that stuff from the state of Georgia and Fulton County. What did the black church do? They got up there, they flaunted this woman around, and made her feel like she shouldn't be held accountable for the sins that she was carrying on doing with taxpayers' money. And they also made it okay that this woman was running around in a relationship with Nathan Wayne. That was a sinful thing to do. Even if they felt a certain way for Fani, they still didn't have to put her in our face like that or let it make it seem like it was okay that she shouldn't be called out for her sins. And you're going to do something, you got to be right. You have to come right in your heart. And I'm not saying that Trump's way of saying things or doing things or whatever he done in his time to what he done to other people was right. I'm not saying that. I'm talking on a Christian level. So please understand what I'm saying. But when it comes to Christ, I defend Christ. And so far, he hasn't crossed that line with me yet. He could say whatever he want to say against certain things, and he shouldn't be saying. But I'm just saying. But when you defend Jesus Christ, is when you lose my love and respect for you, at least prayers for you. When you sit up there and you say horrible things about the Lord, and you try to cast him aside and throw Jesus Christ to the cross again, you want to nail him to the cross again, or you just want to shut him out of things, then I got a problem with you. Okay, because I'm really here to defend his name. Okay, over all man, over all woman, I'm defending Christ. And then I want to go, and then there's some other personal things that I feel about the Democrat Party that I'm not willing to right now share with you. Okay, I'm really not right now because my thing with the Democrat Party and with some of the black churches is very personal, and God knows my heart. God knows where I'm at with this. I don't have to share that with everybody, and I want to keep that to myself. But I'm just letting you know. Everybody had their own personal experience with something. I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not joined to any party, even though I'm registered as a Democrat, but I'm still not feeling any party. I'm dealing with things on my own personal way of looking at things and through my own Christian lens with things. I'm waiting this thing out until the whole riding this thing out until the end. See, we as Christians, we can't run to the polls so quickly. We want to see everything how it's going to fall almost to the close to the end. Because it says be quick to listen, but slow to answer. Because anything can happen tonight, tomorrow, or whatever. So, I'm just saying, because God can turn things around in an instant. Now, what I wanted to talk about, hi, I see three people here watching or in the chat. Could you please hit the like button? Thank you for coming in. I want to say thank you. What I wanted to also share with you as I go on about these churches, what they done, especially the black church. Because all my life I grew up in the black church. When I say the black church, I grew up in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, those denominations, as far as in the Christian faith. And I had my personal experiences with some of them. Okay. And I don't talk about something unless I dealt with you personally. Now, the white churches I attend, like maybe some Catholic churches and places of that nature, like even with my mother was a devout Catholic and all that because she got out of the black church. She she got away from it because she didn't feel they supported her enough. They didn't make her feel like she was really truly loved and accepted. They didn't make her feel any kind of way. She was poor, she working, she had a large family, she was a young mother, she was in a marriage that wasn't great. Um with a lot of support from her husband or anything of that nature, but she got stuck in a very young marriage. And she felt that the Catholic Church really did a lot of outreach for her and really helped her with her family and with her children and what she was going through. And my mother stayed married to her husband until the day she died. She was a devout Catholic. Even when she came out of the black church, even my father was like, look, you know, of us being his children, he wasn't like trying to let hear it. Like we was gonna convert. Even when my mother put us in a Catholic school for a little while, my father was like, no, he ain't having it. Because he felt at that age and as young as his children were, we needed to get to know who we were before we can accept anybody else in the world as equal to us. Whatever it was, his reasons for doing it, whatever. My father was a veteran. He did serve in the United States Army as a young man when he went in the military. But he didn't go because he wanted to go. He went because that's where his life was like either. Like a lot of young black men say, I go in the military to find who I am. They didn't have a clue of what they were connecting themselves to. They didn't have a clue of who they was doing, what they were doing, because they didn't go in there with any dreams or any kind of goal or anything. They went in there because that was the only way to save their life, to make something of themselves. It was like sort of kind of like whatever you would say forced on them, but they didn't really have any other choice. Um, in that time, they didn't take their education seriously. They wanted to escape some of their poverty, or they wanted to find a way to make themselves become men and being needed, or whatever their reasons were. And just like I'm trying to talk to my nephew now, one of my great nephews who want to go into the military, I said, baby, he just lost his mother, blah, 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 blah. He's still very young. And I told him, I said, before you join the United States Army, be sure of this is something you hear, this is what I want to do. I said, well, maybe you need to do a little bit more research. I said, I gave him the story. I said, maybe you need to go read the story or do your research. Get the book, Antoine Fisher's story. Something you probably want to read. Very interesting. Also, the story of the officer and the gentleman. That's a very interesting story, but that would be an interesting story more for a young, lost and confused and misguided young white boy. But the Antoine Fisher story is very deep and personal for a young, confused, misguided young black boy who's disconnected from himself. You know, their experiences. What what drove them to become wanting to join the military when they disconnected from themselves. Now, my nephew's story, of course, he lost his mother, and right now he's in, he's being, he's, my niece, before her demise, before her death, she had wanted me to take her son and her daughter, her two children, because she was strung out on fentanyl, on drugs. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because I felt I was her aunt, but my sister was still alive. And I felt that was her mother's job to do or the grandparents' job to do, not me. I wasn't going to step out of my boundaries. And she dies. The children are now in the hands of being in foster care. And family members was like, oh, they wanted to push the kids on me. I couldn't do it. I had my own personal reason, and I just shared why I couldn't do it. But anyway, so he wants to go join the military. Of course, my niece was in the military, and so was my sister, so was her husband. And it's just a whole lot of messy stuff. And I just didn't want to jump on, I just didn't want to put myself in harm's way like that. And I said, and the people, the lady that takes care of them, whoever he lives with, I said, I think my nephew's in a very desperate situation right now. I don't know. And I said, that's why I told him to read the Anton Fisher story. I said, maybe you need to seek. He never had been in trouble with the Lord, never been in trouble with the Lord, never been in trouble in the streets or nothing like that. He works, he's working right now and doing other things. But I said, there's other ways around it because when you join the military, you have to have a plan why you join the military. Don't go in the military not knowing who you are. Because a lot of young men and women have made that choice. Don't go in because you want to go in for military benefits and all this other stuff. That's not the way to go. You have to want to try to go in the military because you have a plan to become something and you already know what you want to become. So you want that military experience to see the world from the ugly, evil. You got to save yourself first before you can save anybody else. And that's the God honest truth. You still very young. Because once you join that military, you belong to the military. But if you go in with the right mind and with the right heart and the right conscience, you be okay. But if you don't know who you are and you go in the military, you're going to be messed up. You're going to get messed up. You're going to come out with your PTSD. Because that's why some people were able to go in and come out as successful as they have. And they were raised to be great sergeants and whatever in the military because they knew who they were before they got in there. But if you don't know who you are when you go in there, you're going to be messed up. And that's going to be a lifetime in, a lifetime stigma on you. It's not going to just go away overnight. You belong to the government, and whatever somebody going to control your mind to do, you going to do it. The best thing you going to do is go in there with a plan. Go in with a plan already. Before you can take care of anybody else's life overseas or whatever enemies you got to fight, you better know who you are. And you better know what you came to do, to fight, to get to the finish line. Don't go in there not knowing who you are. Seek more truth and understanding before you give your life over to the military. Don't go in there because you want to get military benefits and you're going to have this career, whatever, whatever. You better already have a mindset and be connected with yourself before you even get in there. And that's what the whole Antoine Fisher story was about. See, Antoine Fisher, He went in the military because he was disconnected from himself. And he was angry about a lot of things, but he did not want to die on the street. He did not want to die being a nobody or whatever. He had to join the military to find who he was. And that's what he did. He went in the military. He couldn't even have a good, healthy relationship with any woman until he knew who he was. And that's when he meets up with, in the movie, Denzel Washington as the doctor, the therapist, whatever. And he spoke to him and found him in the military and said, "This young man life is very troubled. Why are you here?" And then he finally found out. He started sharing his stories and some of the things he experienced because he was a child that was adopted from the hospital. From the time he was a baby, he was put into the system, and he was fighting the system of trying to connect with himself because he had lost his mother, left him, and he was in one foster home to another. He was with that lady, that wicked Christian woman, fake Christian woman, who was his foster mother, that was abusing him. And they used their religious abuse and sexual abuse on him and all kind of stuff on him and everything. And then finally he was able to find himself through Denzel Washington, and he started getting attached to Denzel. And Denzel said, "It's time for you to find your family." You know, it's it's deep, y'all. It's very deep. So anyway, not saying that we don't want people to join the military, but you got to know when you join this kind of military stuff, you better have a plan. You better know who you are. You better have a connection to yourself or whatever before you take that, raise the hand and say, "I want to fight for the American country. I want to fight for my country. I want to be a soldier for my on the battlefield," and all that other stuff, because you get played. A lot of people came out. That's why you see a lot of angry, bitter veterans in the world today. We don't even know who the enemy is. They right here in the United States Army are letting these people come into our borders because some people are dealing with some stuff, mental, deeply rooted, messed up stuff. Okay? So, anyway, moving along, I said my take on this comedian, okay? That now the Democrats are trying to push in our face, and now they're attacking the Latino community, the Puerto Rican people and Latinos and everything, because now they see that Latinos are moving into, a lot of Latinos are now moving up. Now they know they can't get the black vote, so now they try with the Latinos, right? And they're going to try to call the Latinos and say, "Look, y'all voting for Trump," and this comedian came on at his rally and disrespected y'all and called y'all garbage, floating, and all this other ugly, demonic, degrading things. You got to understand, there's an infiltrator in every party. There's an infiltrator, even from the story of Christ. When you connected to Christ, you see these things. Trump is blowing up. Trump is doing big rallies. Trump did something very historical to fill up Madison Square Garden. People, the Democrats are mad. Kamala ain't even trying to run her race anymore. Now it's all now about the Obamas, who trying to still stir things up, trying to really win favor for Kamala. And Biden, she's distancing herself from Biden. She now teamed up with the Obamas. The Obamas are now taking the fight. They running in the race. They doing what they gotta do, doing all of these rallies and doing all of this other stuff, talking in this state, talking in that state, and running for this government and for Kamala. So anyway, back to the comedian. There's an infiltrator. They say, "Oh, he knew the teleprompter. He had to see the." Yeah, he probably did see the teleprompter. But see, the thing is that this man got up and said what he said, but that's probably not what it was said before he was able to say it. You know, the teleprompter probably was saying something totally different than what this man was reading. See, this is how they try to trick things up on your mind. The teleprompter probably was saying certain things that was supposed to have been said in his jokes, but he tricked it up. See, that's how they get in. They say, "Oh, I'm gonna say it like this, and I'm going, do this, that, and the other." But then again, this dude was infiltrated from over on the other side. Think about it. There was three, maybe two, three attempts on this man's life already that he don't make it into this election. That they wanted to make sure that any way they can to do what they can to destroy him or to destroy the chances of him winning, they're going to try to put infiltrators all around this man. They're going to come in. I'm a Trump supporter. Just like I said this morning, just because you seen that stadium filled up with millions of so-called supporters for Trump, not everybody in there is for him. And not everybody that goes to Kamala rallies are for her. See, this is how tricky the devil is. There's infiltrators in every party. There's somebody that's in there working on the other side. Always. Like Christ. He had 12 disciples, and one of them was an infiltrator. One of them was planted so that they can get close to him to destroy him and to kill him and to bring him to his enemies. So just because Trump have all these so-called people working around him, not everybody around him likes him. Somebody's an infiltrator. Somebody is working on the inside to destroy him. It's people like me. It's people like the people that's out here that's doing so-called, you know, content on him and supporting him through their content or whatever and saying things like that are the people that's working that's not close to Trump. We're good. But it's the people that always next to you that you gotta watch the closest. They're gonna want this is the truth. That man ain't stupid. And he's enjoying every moment of it. But you think that man is stupid, that these people, but he has to do what he has to do to make America great again and his leadership and what he's doing for the American people. People going to say he's a racist. They're going to say he's a fascist. They did a Project 2025 document on him. They did all of that stuff. They even try to come for his life. They trying to kill him. They trying to shut him down. They trying to, because the more, they said to you in the movie, The Godfather, or even in the movie Starface, I'm sorry, the gangster movie, he says, bring your friends close, but your enemies even closer. This white man tried to tell me yesterday, who's here in the state that I live in, Trump is a racist. He ain't got no black people working with him on his side. I was like, and he was like, well, I was like, and Biden's not? And he gave black people this incompetent woman. He put this black woman that don't really know what the heck she talking about out here to represent for us, and to this woman that ain't even black, and then try to trick us up and all this other stuff. So I said, let me tell you something. I represent Jesus Christ. Point blank, period. It ain't got nothing to do with the person's race, whatever, but it's that policy. And you can fool man, you can fool woman, but you can't fool God. You can fool man, you can fool woman, but you can't fool God. Trump know he got a lot of enemies. And he know half of the white people that's hanging around him and doing whatever he's doing around him ain't really with him. And some of them got their own evil intentions against him, or they got their own agenda, or whatever, like this, that, yeah. That's why he say what he say. He do it the way he say it, and whatever. Because his life is a walking target every day. But this is what he lived for. He lived for America. And he know he has to do what he got to do for the American people. I don't find nothing. They say, oh, he lied, he lied, he lied. But y'all doing y'all stuff over there. Everybody doing their dirtiness on every party. Every party got their infiltrators. Every party got their enemies that are close to them. Every man for himself. It used to be an American song, American anthem song called No Man is an Island and No Man Stands Alone. Each man joy is joy to me, but each man grief is his own. Is his own. Is his own. And he says, gotta bring truth. We gotta stand for truth. We already knows America been sold out to foreign countries, to foreign nations, to all of these people that's coming over here just taking over America. We already know that. But we still fight. We standing up and we fighting back for our country. Because the Biden and Harris and those Democrats who's been in power for the last 12 or so more years has sold us out to foreign countries. I see it. Nothing in America is made in America mostly anymore. Nothing in America now is even owned by Americans anymore. I remember look for the union label, and I remember being branded buy in the USA, made in the USA. You don't see a lot of stuff that's made in the United States anymore. It's all somewhere from some foreign country, or jobs that have been outsourced to all these foreign places. Americans don't even own America anymore. And these people are quiet. I see them. But the only way you're going to see them is you got to get connected to Jesus Christ. You love eating their food and them foreign foods, right? And the Bible tells you don't even eat these people food, but y'all go and eat it. Y'all go and eat your kebabs and Indian food and eating these Chinese food and all these foreign dishes and all over the world or whatever like that. I stick to my soul. My sister came in here the other day. Oh, y'all need to stay off of that soul food. I ain't stopping to eat my mama's cooking. You gotta be kidding me. What was this whole story about Meshach, Ben Shimrak, and Abednego about? What was this after October 31st? We are on a fast before Thanksgiving. Ain't nothing but mama's cooking gonna be on that table. No foreign food coming in my kitchen. My family, my mother's family or whatever, they take their little foreign trip. But I'm gonna stay right here and have my traditional from what was taught to me from my mama. Okay, on my Thanksgiving table. Thankful for my mama, my ancestors, and everything. It's a person. It's very deep and personal. Meshach, Shimrak, and Abednego. You better get to know that story. Why they wasn't bowing down to Nebuchadnezzar and his golden images and his statues and his idols and everything else like that. And they refuse to eat from the king's table when they refuse to eat that food. Y'all go ahead and keep thinking America owns America. There's a lot of things that I've seen that ain't about America no more. And this is what this man is fighting for. These pastors sit up there, they're going at each other. Why they want y'all to have these abortions? They want the black woman to abort her children. They want the white woman to abort her children. The white American woman, the black American woman, and everything else. Like that's why these people are having babies. Like I don't know what, and they keeping their family strong and surviving. While you Americans keep going on having your marriages all broken and your children in all these child care centers while you working like a slave and your kids are being raised by a child care center. I have a parent telling me all the time, "Oh, I can't be homesick." Girl, you need to work your schedule around your child because children gonna get sick. You want your child to suffer outside playing so you can go to work and make your $30,000, whatever kind of light money you making or whatever you got that job for. But I think your children are your greatest assets. There's a whole lot of things I need to, you know, share with you, but somebody gonna pick up on this. And they gonna go a little bit more deeper for you than what I can. I can only share you just a crumb from the master's table. But somebody got the deepest truth. This is why this election is so important to American people, the American dream. And that comedian was an infiltrator. That was somebody sent in there just so that they can do this to turn the hearts of the Latino people to come and join the Democrats or feel some kind of way. But when you connected to God, you know how this thing is working. Trump ain't never had no celebrities. Think about it. Never had a celebrity come out to his. I mean, not saying never had a celebrity. I gotta regress. Okay, he never sold you any celebrity that was gonna come and perform for him for free, for you to come out for a free whatever concert or anything. Just think about it. Okay, the Democrats sold, they gave you Megan Stallion to shake her ass for votes for you to come out. Because he know what black people want. And they did all kind of things to convince you. This is what, and they calling him a racist. But look at the kind of black people that they put in your face to get your attention, to get your favor from them, for them. They didn't put nobody there to speak with intelligence or somebody unknown that just coming out and support them and say this is why we should, you know, vote for Kamala, whatever. They went and got celebrities. Celebrities. And they lied to you with this Beyonce stuff. They got Beyonce to come out and speak 3 minutes on a speech, maybe four, and just go right on home and told you she was going to perform. And it was going to be a free concert just to pack they voters in. And they send busloads of people to come see them. When Trump people just come on their own just to see Trump. Think about it. And then so all of a sudden this comedian from whoever shows up. And Trump was like, I didn't even know who this man was. But they gonna tell us, oh, he lied, he know who he was. He probably didn't. He probably didn't know nothing about who this comedian was gonna come and speak out for him. I mean, the dude, comedian, whatever, probably didn't know nothing about this dude, but somebody. And I remember one other time I was watching one of the Trump rallies here, and somebody, the DJ, got up there and started playing some crazy, wild rap music at a Trump rally. And hurry up, they probably didn't even know who that DJ was saying all kind of foul, disgusting, ratchet language and everything else like that. I've seen it happen. People could come and try to destroy this man at any moment they want to do to destroy the fact that he's drawing such a big crowd of people. And they mad because they have to sell you lies and tell you that some celebrity is giving a big concert to come out and perform, and y'all gonna go show up and fill the stadium or full wherever they at, in the gymnasium, wherever they at some college or some wherever they doing their rallies at. Just think about it. I believe the comedian was an infiltrator. I think he was a plant. I think he was something they just sent in there to try to destroy all that, excitement that was going on that day, and to make people feel a certain type of way, especially a target towards the black, and not the blacks, but the Latino community, the Latino Spanish community. So if you made your vote early and you felt this was the right person to vote for, don't feel no kinds of way. That's the way I'm saying it, and that's the way I feel about it. Don't feel no kind of way. God placed it on your heart to put that vote in early to do who you voted for, then that's who you voted for. Don't feel no kind of way. Just leave your votes there, leave it with God, and just keep praying. And keep it between you and God. And for these pastors to be out here to bullying people who they should vote for, they need to stop. Walk with Jesus, talk to Jesus, go to Jesus with your prayers. Don't let these people mess with your head. Don't let these people make you feel any kind of bad kind of way. Now I know I already said I ain't voting for Kamala. I know that. I know that. For real, for real. Especially after she mocked God, after she said the horrible things she said about Jesus Christ, and she told people, she got people kicked out when they called out Christ as our Lord and Savior, and she told them they was at the wrong rally. Then she goes to a church that is well known for a lot of corruption, a lot of scandal, a lot of bad things in that church, and under that leadership of that church. So I wouldn't even be bothered with dealing with her. She's not even in the right churches, especially if she went in the pulpit with Jamal Bryant. And I can't wait till they make the documentary Surviving Jamal Bryant. Now that he clapped back at Donnie Swaggart, well, Donnie Swaggart, his family and everything, we know about his father, Jimmy Swaggart. And I remember when he came forward, Tammy and Baker and all of them, and they got caught in a scandal, excuse me, in the church. We all know, I known about it in the 80s or whatever like that. But what that got to do with the sun? I mean, I understand they say the apple don't fall too far from the tree. That's not always a true saying, because David was loved by so many, but his son Solomon took a whole different route. And Solomon's son also did not follow righteously with his father. So you can't always look at things that way with the parents' sins are, but people still feel a certain kind of way against the child because of the parents. But when you walk in with Christ, you can look at the past and it could be forgiven. And you can see the children walk in a different way of looking at things than what the parents did. I don't think the same way as my mother think at all, because there's no way I was stayed with him in a marriage with the husband that my mother had chose to have, but that was her time. You understand what I'm saying? So your children shouldn't feel a certain kind of way because of what the father did and following the father in his ministry. He might be a totally different son than what his father is. He probably got this thing with Christ in his heart 100% better than his father. So I'm not going to even look at judging this man because of who his father was. And Jamal Bryant's father was a good person. As far as he kept a good reputation in the faith in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. If you know Jamal Bryant, his father is one of the bishops at the John in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, Bishop John Bryant. His son is totally different from what the father was. Okay? So you cannot judge, look back and call him out for his father. This is Donnie, not Jimmy. His father, who was, you know, corrupt or did some corrupt things in his ministry or whatever. You cannot say Donnie is like the father. Remember, there's two parents there. There's his mother and his father. He might have inherited some of his characteristics in the Lord and his way of feeling about Christ and his way of leadership in the Lord from a totally different background, from a totally different ancestor who probably even fought in against slavery. Just because Donald Trump father might have said he don't want blah 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 blah, but Donald might feel a totally different way in his heart about black people and white people, because people still want to hold on to, well, his father was such and such and such, so he's gonna be just like the father. That's not always necessarily true. When you look to Christ, you can see, yes, some generations will probably follow the same sins as their fathers or their mothers or whoever. But then there's that generational curse. But then there's some that might change to be totally different than what the parents were. So you can't always judge people on the same generation of curses. Some, maybe Donnie is thinking a totally different way than what his father was thinking. And people are still holding it against him because of what the father did. And I'm not looking at that man in the same way his father, Jim Baker, was. I can't look at him like that. Or how Jamal Bryant is doing. Because if people was to judge him, he's totally different from his father, John. Jamal, if you think I'm lying, look his father up. John Bryant, the African Methodist Episcopal Church. He was a bishop in the church, and I know his father because I grew up in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, and I known his father from even the family members of mine who is in the elites of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. That's why I'm saying Jamal Bryant is a fraud with Christ. He ain't no real man of the Lord. He's so into his so-called connection with the fraternities that he served in that Divine Nine crazy stuff, just like the KKK, if you ask me, the black KKK type of people. You know different than what the KKK is when you walking around with your Greek letters and your fraternity brothers. You know different than those people when you connect yourself to these organizations. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it the way it is. You're no different than who they are, thinking the way they are, to being loyal to they being they white brethren. You're no different. That's why I can't get with those people. You sit up here, your loyalty to being black, but what about when the white people got to be loyal to being white in their connection to their organization as Aryan brothers and all that other stuff? Do you see the difference? So that's why I can't rock with them. I rock with Christ and Christ alone. That's it. That's it. That's why when my church and everything, they come out here and they start representing all of this divine nine stuff and they start doing all these organizations and stuff, I walk the hell out the door. I ain't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be connected. Only thing I want to be connected with you with is in the body of Christ. That's it. In righteousness. That's it. People need to think about that. Before you start calling them racist and the KKK and all that other stuff, think about your divine nine. Think about you being connected to your Greek brothers, your black fraternities, and all that other stuff. Think about that. Two wrongs don't make it right. They said the blind can't lead the blind because you both fall into a ditch. But anyway, y'all gotta go. My time is up. God bless you. I love you and peace.